誰為愛世人願捨身？這禮物化作活存的心靈，幸福是接受和活出這禮物的真諦，教我學習愛到同時就如遇見主。人一生最如趕，豔陽縱使多耀眼，如若沒愛，彷彿天空阻隔了光線的障礙。請潔淨我心眼，長留着愛的恩泉，清似璀璨。
大學生活充滿挑戰，年青人最需要適應嘅就係學識獨立自主。
It's very easy for students to give in to laziness.
呢啲措施嘅話，就係讓我就完全擺脫咗呢種就係唔好懶惰嘅生活咁樣。
它真的是能夠轉變我，就完全是你可以，甚至你可以說是變了一個人，就是我進來之前和我出去，應該不再是同一個人。
Virtue is not just a religious concept, it's something that everyone should strive for. And so Earnscliffe really pushes all of its residents to do that, to become virtuous in everything they do.
愛常傳之前帶大家睇過一間好似屋企咁親切嘅女生宿舍，原來多倫多都有一間為男仔而設嘅同類宿舍嘅喎。呢度係 Earnscliffe College， 係多倫多大學附近嘅一間男仔宿舍，帶大家參觀下呢度先啦。宿舍總共4層連地庫，最高嗰2層係房，除咗喺房溫習，亦都可以去地庫嘅圖書館同埋溫習室。
So just an example room, very simple. There's a bed, a closet space, a desk, and there are common washrooms and showers. This is our library, and we have an excellent collection, in particular of literature, English literature, but also philosophy, theology, biography. Many residents leave their old textbooks here, so sometimes you can save money by using one of our textbooks. And we have another room. This is what we call the study room. It's great for group projects or group study.
而地下主層就係學生另一個主要嘅公共空間。
This is our living room. Here, a lot of the life of the residents takes place. Every day, at the end of the day, about 9:10, we have what we call a get-together, which is where everyone living here comes together and we have a conversation, one single conversation about whatever, about sports, about movies, about things people did that day, people's classes, people's interests.
當然，男生宿舍又點可以冇 gym 呢？
So this is our gym. We have a lot of workout material, workout equipment. I do use the treadmill a lot. So it's great. I mean, when you're studying seriously, when you study a lot, you need every once in a while to rest and change, need a change of activity, right? It's good. It helps people study better. So we'll go into the most important room of the house, which is the oratory or the chapel. And this is where every day we have Catholic Mass for the residents who wish to attend. Not all the residents are Catholic, but many of them are, and they take advantage of the Mass in the mornings. So we have the tabernacle here with the Blessed Sacrament present at all times. And often some of the residents come in during the day to pray or do a bit of spiritual reading. So it's really wonderful to have that here.
以宿舍嚟講，呢度嘅規模唔大，最多只可以住30個大學生。 呢啲學生絕大部分都唔係嚟自多倫多，亦唔一定有宗教信仰。
Well, Earnscliffe College, it's mainly a university residence for young men. It's much smaller than most of the other residences that you will find on campus. And it's also quite unique. Our aims here are quite different. We're not just supplying a place for students to eat and sleep. We're doing much more than that. Our aim is to help the students to become leaders, become principled leaders, character formation. We want to help them to be good students. We want to help them to grow in their virtues and in their personal lives.
我哋遇到幾位嚟自中國嘅留學生，梗係要同佢哋傾下偈啦。Tiger 嚟自中國，喺 Earnscliffe 住咗2年，佢好中意呢度嘅環境，不過更加中意嘅係佢喺呢度遇到嘅人。
我住在这边，我觉得我周围人都非常的厉害，就在智商方面，在情商方面，就你真的是感觉进来之后，你遇到了一帮 scholar， 你遇到了一帮学者，就真正是学者，然后事业方面很成功的人士，学业方面很成功的人士，他们真的能够教会我怎么样去学习，怎么样去生活，怎么样打理自己，怎么样长大，甚至说，还有就是当然是一个家庭的环境了。我喜欢就是一家人在一起多好，就这样就不会导致像一个留学生千里迢迢来到这里有想家这个东西，但是来到这里其实就没有什么想家了，就是这里就是家。
We supply here a family atmosphere for the students. It's a home away from home. And we're really the only residence on campus that does that. Students who come here commit themselves to form part of the family. We don't want someone coming here who's going to be just a hermit in his own little room and away from everybody else.
Sometimes when we're busy with our life, we sort of forget to have human interaction. So I thought it's very important to have a regular get together. We get to talk and express our opinions and just relax and get to see people laugh, see people smile, and just relax and talk.
In these get-togethers at night, they learn how to respect others, to listen to what someone else has to say, to give their opinion, that sort of thing. Well, most of the residents, at least once a year, they give a presentation on a Monday night to the other residents. So they learn how to public speaking, how to present something, so that kind of thing.
同樣住咗2年嘅仲有 Denton， 佢係經 Tiger 介紹先識呢個地方，佢對呢度嘅環境讚不絕口啊！
你下面有圖書館，你可以去做功課、去睇書，或者有健身房，你都可以喺度跑下步啊、健下身啊，仲有好多活動。之後大家都互相幫助。我第一年嚟嗰陣，呢度有2個讀緊嗰個 medical doctor， 之後我病咗嗰陣，我仲唔使自己出去揾醫生都可以啦。係，而且呢度氛圍好好，就好似有個大家庭咁樣，就大家都互相幫助，大家都好熟。
Manton 再經 Denton 介紹而認識 Earnscliffe， 喺呢度住咗半年，佢冇諗過只係短短幾個月，自己會有咁大轉變。你最中意呢度啲乜嘢？
我最中意呢度嘅人咯，因為呢度啲人全部都係好積極向上咁樣。咁 Anthony 佢係 select 啲人入嚟嗰時候，佢都係好嚴格。留喺呢度啲人都係啲好啲學生咁樣，都好勤力咁樣。我一入嚟嘅話，其實我係成個人係懶惰，係比較立一啲嘅，就好中意就係瞓懶覺啊。然之後嘅話 ，Anthony 佢就會每日8點鐘就準時 call 起身，然之後佢仲會就係喺中午嗰時鎖咗個門，真係唔俾我瞓咧。咁呢啲措施嘅話，就係讓我就係完全擺脱咗呢種就係好懶惰嘅生活咁樣。
一開始會唔會都有啲反感佢咁樣做？
其實我覺得佢咁樣係完全係為咗我好，咁我就好 accept 佢呢種做法咯。
安東尼佢好人啊，佢仲會幫我睇嗰啲哲學論文。我啱嚟嗰陣英文好屎噶嘛，所以佢幫我改咗好多嘢。
Anthony 本身係一位律師，喺 Earnscliffe 擔任總監已經好多年。佢認為年青人由中學過渡到大學生活，需要一啲指引去幫助佢哋善用前所未有嘅自由同自主能力。
Self-discipline is a big one. Time management. They're coming from high school where their day has been full. The whole day's been full. And now they have some classes, but they have lots of time between classes. And they've moved out of their parents' home, so they have all this freedom. So we try to teach them how to manage their freedom, how to use their time well, how to be responsible, how to study, learning how to get out of bed in the morning at a proper time, early to bed and early to rise. So that kind of thing.
Earnscliffe College 喺1994年成立，由註冊慈善團體 Earnscliffe Foundation 管理。至於同人格培育同埋天主教信仰有關嘅活動，就係由一個叫做 Opus Dei 主業會嘅天主教組織管理。主業會由西班牙神父聖施禮華創立。雖然係咁，Earnscliffe 嘅使命並唔係傳教，而係培育青年，幫助佢哋建立良好品格，日後能夠成為社會嘅領袖。Earnscliffe 唔單止為佢哋提供一個理想嘅讀書同居住環境，仲有各式各樣嘅活動，好似行山啊、打保齡球，仲有嘉賓講座。呢一晚呢，佢哋就一齊出去打波啦。
It's not like a normal residence. A normal residence, there's no activities organized for all practical purposes. This is a home. We want to have the students to be able to feel that they're really at home here. And so we organize these activities. Not all the residents take part in all the activities. We have something for everyone. Different residents are interested in more intellectual type activities, and other ones may be more in sports.
咁當然要營造屋企嘅氣氛，唔可以只靠單方面付出嘅，都需要學生積極咁參與。Earnscliffe 對入嚟住嘅學生就有3個要求。
If somebody wants to come here, he has to commit himself to basically 3 things. There's sort of 3 pillars of what Earnscliffe is all about. So he's committing himself to have supper with us, to have meals with us, take part in that get-together, and to mix and mingle and take part in some of the activities that we organize. We want him to be part of the family. We're only 30 people, so people make good connections here. They make good friends among the other residents. And the second one would be that he has to commit himself to be a good student. So we want serious students here. The third pillar is self-improvement. Okay, so we help each of them to grow in the virtues, and that's done through a one-on-one mentoring. We point out things to them where we see that need improvement. For those who are Catholics and who want to, that self-improvement involves also growing in their Catholic faith. For those who are not, or who do not want to do that part of it, that's fine. But there's always this mentoring, this one-on-one mentoring where we're helping them to grow in their studies and in the virtues.
師友計劃 one-on-one mentoring 係 Earnscliffe 幫助學生成長非常重要嘅一環。師友計劃嘅目的係協助學生全面發展。至於係咪想認識天主教信仰，或者想唔想喺信仰上成長，就完全由學生自己決定。Mauricio 本身嚟自秘魯，喺多倫多大學讀書期間喺 Earnscliffe 住咗幾年，亦都係其中一個陪伴學生嘅 mentor。佢留意到加拿大同好多已發展國家嘅年輕人都好受個人主義影響，比較傾向獨來獨往，而缺乏咗深厚嘅友誼。
I think most of them what they struggle with is a lot of individualism. I go on my own, and if I succeed, it's on my own. If I try things, it's on my own, and if I do things, will be my terms. And that really is an obstacle for many of them, because that way you cannot achieve anything really, anything meaningful. You don't feel great about your successes because who are you going to share them with? And often you cannot even achieve success alone. That's a big problem, and it's present in their friendships, or rather in the lack of friendships, of real friendships.
喺呢個社交媒體氾濫嘅時代，大部分人通常都淨係會 po 自己啲好嘢，久而久之就唔會想將真實嗰面 show 俾人睇。Mauricio 認為 mentoring 會幫到學生建立一啲比較健康嘅關係。
Being an individualist and somebody who is very individualistic sometimes means that they will build a wall between them and anyone else. But the moment they sincerely agree to be mentor, that wall doesn't exist. Now they've taken the very first step that they need to take with everyone else. Just being actually open, simple, sincere, make themselves vulnerable sometimes. So there's no room for pride, and there's no room for building these brands or personas that they're not true. So with mentoring, we're already making a great first step when we see that somebody is sitting down with us and just being themselves.
每個學生嚟到 Earnscliffe 都會獲編派一位 mentor， 主要係按大家嘅性格嚟配對。喺時間管理同埋建立良好生活習慣呢方面呢， Earnscliffe 採用一套叫做 Optimal Work 嘅網上工具。每一次見 mentor 之前 學生會用幾分鐘預先答一啲問題嚟評估啱啱過咗嗰個星期自己嘅狀態。問題分為4類，包括自己有幾忠於價值觀咁生活同工作，工作嘅模式，生活同工作之間嘅平衡，同埋同其他人嘅關係。Mentor 就會根據評估嘅結果去俾啲建議，例如引導學生點樣調整自己。當然，學生都會同 Mentor 分享翻自己最近嘅情況。Andreas 喺 Earnscliffe 住咗2年，每2個禮拜都會見一次 Mentor。佢覺得 mentoring 幫到佢履行自己定落嘅目標，令佢可以一直成長。
We talk about basically everything else, how we are doing in terms of growing as a person. So I think that's the main goal of mentoring, is to help you to grow as a person. Not just in, I guess, like maturing, but also in your spiritual life as well. If you're Catholic, then your mentor will help you. So for example, one of the things Paul proposed was start praying a decade on the way to class. When I'm walking to class, do a decade, and then maybe a decade on the way back. And so then every time we meet, he's like, so have you been doing your decades? And he tries to make sure that you're being consistent with yourself. So I guess it's sort of someone that holds you accountable for the resolutions that you make in mentoring, which I find very helpful.
而 Tiger 嘅 mentor 就係 Anthony， 佢哋每個禮拜都會見面。佢覺得 mentoring 令佢更加有動力去建立一啲好嘅習慣。
星期4我去找 Anthony 做 mentorship 的時候，他每個星期4他能夠指導給我東西，這都是忘不了。就是說，你這週這個地方做得怎麼樣？你這週有早起嗎？還是你睡過頭了？你這週的 get together 有沒有來？你這週的 mass 你有沒有去？你這週的學習表現怎麼樣之類的？當然，他也基本上跟我說你這星期你沒有做到最好沒有關係，你每星期都是一個新的開始，你哪裡跌倒你哪裡爬起來。直到現在我都在慢慢調整我的習慣，這個東西不是說一步登天的嘛，對吧？所以甚至我到現在還在想，如何能變成一個 morning person， 如何能夠早上6點半起床，或者說甚至6點鐘起床，然後做一些事情之後，我能去參加 morning mass， 然後我吃完早餐之後能夠馬上的進入狀態，開始學習，或者說做我該做的事情。
另一個學生阿 Max 喺 Earnscliffe 住咗半年，佢除咗有位 mentor 陪伴佢，自己同時亦都係另一個同學嘅 mentor。佢覺得做人 mentor 唔係因為佢好過人，而係可以同同學一齊行，鼓勵佢去做得更好。
I mentor one of the university guys as well, help them with character formation and things like that. Not to say that I'm perfect, right? None of the mentors are perfect. No one's perfect. And we fully, we acknowledge that. But we just try to help in any way we can, in their spiritual life, their professional life. For university students, being their studies, their family life. Yeah, all around, we try our best to help them. We're not therapists, right? It's a friendship. With genuine care, you want the other person to be better. You want to help them in every way that you can. That's what love is, really, right? And so that idea should be in all our mentoring sessions. You want your mentee to grow closer to God because it's really in their best interest, right? It'll help them in all aspects of their life.
Max 亦都負責統籌 Earnscliffe 嘅中學生活動，每個禮拜6都會有班中學生嚟參加課外活動。佢哋會玩下 board game、踢下波、傾下信仰，間中亦會有啲特別嘅講座同埋義工服務。呢班10幾歲嘅男仔都幾鍾意個個禮拜相聚嘅時間㗎。
Before coming to Earnscliffe, I was not social at all. I didn't know how to talk, I didn't know how to be with people. I think the biggest thing I learned is how to be social. I also learned how to serve people when I went on a trip, and I helped fix a church. That's one of the greatest experiences I've had at Earnscliffe.
When I came to Earnscliffe, I found friends that are, still my friends today, and I'm much more of an open person now. I can talk about, like religion with my friends too. I can talk about anything with the guys here at Earnscliffe. The Earnscliffe has made, made me part of their family, so I feel very welcomed here.
每個嚟到嘅中學生都會有個 mentor。Samuel 讀緊 Grade 9，參加咗週末培育已經2年。佢認為 mentor 能夠以過來人嘅身份 幫助佢面對一啲成長中嘅難題。
Having a mentor makes a difference in my life because the people who are mentoring me are like university students. They've been through what I've done. They experienced the same bullying. They've experienced changes from childhood to manhood and how our feelings differ. They've been through that. They explain how to get through it.
比起一般嘅大學宿舍 ，Earnscliffe 嘅氣氛都幾唔同。學生往往着得比較斯文，而且認真讀書。佢哋啲課外活動更加係少有咁純品。呢個同主業會嘅創辦人聖施禮華嘅教導有關。喺2002年，教宗聖若望保祿二世將施禮華神父封為聖人。當時教宗叫佢做平凡事務中嘅聖人。
Saint Josemaria says, an hour of study for the modern apostle is an hour of prayer. Even something as like ordinary as studying is something that you can do for a greater good.
The sanctification of work in the spirit of Opus Dei, in the spirit of Saint Josemaria, makes visible that you do it out of love, and out of love you try to take care for the little details of each day. For instance, the guys will see order, punctuality, a smile, being correct, helping out, so details of service, that makes the difference.
聖施禮華認為人人都有成聖嘅召喚，就係喺自己嘅生活環境、職務同責任裏面做好本分，盡量同天主嘅恩寵合作。呢種生活方式，就算係冇宗教信仰嘅學生都一樣啱用。
The principles that are put into practice here at Earnscliffe aren't just for like people that are religious. If someone is not religious, then obviously they can't grow in their spiritual life because there is no spiritual life for them to grow in. But they can grow in everything else. So they can grow in their studies, they can grow to better interact with people, to be more caring of other people, to be more responsible, to be more focused and maybe not as, sometimes not as lazy. Living at Earnscliffe, it pushes you, I guess, instead of sanctifying your ordinary tasks of your daily life, it's sort of be virtuous in your ordinary tasks. Because virtue is not just a religious concept, it's something that everyone should strive for.
Earnscliffe 另一個重要嘅宗旨就係為天主教嘅學生提供靈性上嘅支援。Father Chris 作為其中一位院牧，佢喺呢度最重要嘅任務就係主持彌撒同埋聽告解。
We have each day a mass in the morning and Sundays at 12 o'clock, and that is my main task, to take care for the liturgy, but also the sacrament of reconciliation. So the confession is also very important because we all are sinners and we all need reconciliation. And then it is nice for the people here in the house to know there is always a priest available for this sacrament.
Father Chris 亦都會開一啲課程，等有興趣嘅學生可以更加了解天主教。而逢禮拜五 ，Father Chris 就會帶領學生反省福音同生活嘅關係。
我覺得其實最好是還是每星期五晚上這個 meditation， 因為神父在上面講，然後你去聽，然後你可以靜悄悄的祈禱。這種東西就是比較寬泛的東西，不會說給你很深的話題。其實比如說你學習效率一定要高，你一定要 focus。當然我們信基督了，我們會說因為我們要把最好的東西給天主，然後學習是一種 sacrifice， 是一種犧牲，所以你把這個東西給他，你要給最好的，所以要很高的學習效率。但是你沒有信仰了，你來這聽，你也會覺得有道理，說如果我學習效率不高，會發生什麼，會怎麼樣？就是你沒有激發你的潛能，你可以做更多事情，但是你沒有去做。你去聽神父說這些話，你就覺得很有道理，甚至多來幾次都沒有問題。許多人都很喜歡 meditations， 對，所以我覺得這個是比較適合所有人都參加的一個活動。
身為一個長住宿舍嘅院牧 ，Father Chris 認為佢嘅存在本身就已經俾緊學生一個訊息，就係除咗食飯、瞓覺、讀書，生命係仲有啲更重要嘅嘢。
The presence of a priest is a reminder there is more. Maybe it can also help to behave well if they see that there is a priest present, of course. And I think also that they can always come with questions to me. So it is a direct and an indirect influence in the life of the students, of the residents, that there is a priest present. So it is very, I think it is important that they see someone who represents that there is more than just what you can see here on earth.
本身從未接觸過天主教嘅 Manton 喺 Earnscliffe 住咗半年，除咗喺生活同埋讀書習慣有所改變之外，更大嘅改變係佢有咗信仰。你覺得呢半年嘅經驗仲令你改變咗啲乜嘢？
讓我就係信咗就係天主教，就係從內心接受咗呢份宗教。
咁呢度有好多其他即係 Catholic 嘅 residents 啊。你覺得同佢哋嘅 interaction 之中，即係有冇都俾你一啲影響咧？
有，呢個絕對有，因為佢哋並冇向我傳教，就係佢哋嘅行動影響到我咁樣咯。其實 Anthony 係對我影響非常之大嘅一個人，因為佢所有啲行為啊就好非常之 holy 咁樣。佢攞佢自己個行動嚟影響到我，咁我就會覺得我點解唔可以就係向佢咁樣至少就係話好似同佢咁樣嘅人咁樣。我嘅嗰個 mentor 佢叫做 Jeff， 佢有一日佢喺新地嗰時同我講，佢話你要唔要試下參加下 Mass 咁樣？咁我當時我就係比較好奇，咁我就入咗去。咁入咗去之後，發現真係非常之莊嚴咁樣。Anthony 佢有一日佢就俾咗一張 prayer， 佢想我就係試下向天主嚟 pray 一下。然之後我就試咗一下，但係一開始係冇任何 feedback。但係第二日我一醒咗，咁我手機嘅第一條推送係一個軟件，就係一個大陸嘅一個軟件嘅一個推送。咁佢呢個推送就認證咗，就係琴日我 pray 嗰啲嘢，係就係佢俾咗個 answer 俾我。咁之後嘅話就對呢個宗教好有興趣。咁我而家我都係打算喺4月嘅 Easter 嗰度受洗。
聖施禮華曾經咁樣講過，知識分子就好似俾雪冚住嘅山頂，當融雪嘅時候，水就會流落嚟滋潤土地，花草先可以豐盛咁生長。當接受良好教育嘅人，同時得到適當嘅培育，願意無私咁貢獻自己嘅才能，社會先可以得到提升。相信藉住好似 Earnscliffe 呢種大學宿舍，聖施禮華嘅願景會有望得到實現。
一個喺加拿大長大嘅細路女，一個難以想像嘅使命。
我覺得天主喺度同我講，我會建立一個向外方傳教嘅女修會，
但係困難重重。
我哋會組呢一生都係有病痛嘅。
大麗雅修女點樣將福音嘅種子遠播到去香港同埋中國各地呢？請唔好錯過呢一個星期嘅愛常傳。睇完呢一集嘅愛常傳，歡迎大家打我哋嘅熱線電話，分享一下你嘅感受或者係故事。同時都請收聽我哋逢星期六嘅電台節目《愛生命》，以及訂閱 Podcast。要購買天主教書籍同信仰靈修禮物，請嚟到我哋位於 Markham 嘅生命恩泉資源及媒體中心參觀選購。我哋下星期同樣時間再見，天主保佑。